how did you find your way to poetry and to writing? How did you find your own ethical foundation or your own true north?
I think poetry for me, beginning college, where I seriously began to study it, was always a place where I could find the unsaid. There are the facts and there are what is communicated. And then there's a whole nother realm where you're dealing and interacting and encountering others. And it seems to exist below language, but then poetry has a way of being able to enter into not the words, but the dynamic through the words. And it's more a sense of process than a sense of showing. So that's how my interest in poetry began. It seemed to answer questions that weren't answered in other places.
Well, and it also, I mean, and we'll get into these works more specifically, but somehow you make us feel as if we're there and we sort of can't quite figure out how it's happening to us. And yet we're sort of transported into a very different kind of understanding and not sort of being told this is what you should be learning. What about your own sort of ethics foundation, your own true north? Do you have something in your upbringing, is some writers you follow, or some sort of personal guide where you figure out your guiding principles and ethics?
Guiding principles have come through writers in an odd way. That poets like Paul Celan, and not exactly through what they write, but how they write it. I mean, somebody like Paul Celan, after Shoah, the devastation of the Holocaust, he literally changed his writing so that it would be impossible for you to read without understanding that people are shattered. And he did that by referring to an arm or a leg or an eye doing this or doing that. And so you couldn't take the whole body as one thing. And that kind of writer has helped me to think about what the encounter is, how you and I are only important in our interaction with each other. And obviously people like Levinas, who talks about the I-thou connection, have been important. Affect theorists have been very important to me in terms of thinking about what the encounter is. And the discipline of poetry is a discipline about close reading, which is about listening and understanding what is happening between us in not necessarily what is being explicitly communicated, but implicitly asked. And those are the kinds of things that have allowed me to kind of ground myself.
So